the Zenith 12 XP camera. That's my first analog photography camera. Why is analog photography so important for me? Analog photography is making a real photo. It's photons falling on a real proper physical device and creating a chemical reaction that we have a visible picture on this little piece of film back in this camera. That is a really nice photography era, and people made photos since ages with this photography technique, and it's called analog. I'm not the analog expert. I will probably never be this analog expert whatsoever that develops himself the pictures. Actually, I met a guy in my house where we live in here, and there is a guy that develops his own pictures. That is crazy. It's a 1,000 euro analog camera. That's a 60 euro analog camera. I like the lens. That's the Helios 44M4 version lens. That's a nice little lens they used also on the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. And well, that's my first real photos, and the light metering didn't work quite well, or I was not so smart how to use it. So the first pictures were like with my imagination. I tested with my Lumix. 5 hours later, ladies and gentlemen, if you are somehow on a point in your life, in your videography career, where you have almost no time for your hobby and you have more time, you spend more time with work, then you're in a good position, because you probably make money with your hobby, with your videography. And I just had a call from a lady. I also get booked as a photographer, and I made her some photo books, and I have to send her the photo books. And these are here the first analog photos. We come now to the first analog pictures, ladies and gentlemen. We look through these pictures now. We opened it up here and look through the first pictures here. And yeah, that's the first picture, where every picture is maybe in one picture. And there you see the overview. We have 20 usable pictures, I think. And I will show you some pictures with some pixelation, because I want to protect the privacy of my daughter. But most pictures I can show you. That's the first picture. I took also some pictures while I took the picture to get an overview of the settings I used, because the settings are not in the picture. For instance, here, I know that I can remember this. This is with f16. That's shot with f16, and that has some nice sharpness. It's a good sharp image, and when I look through all the pictures, I think every picture is good exposed. That's quite cool. That's f16, and that's not f16 here. Here I try to play with a little bit with the foreground, and it's my girlfriend and my mom. And we have here, I think, I don't know, f5.6 or something, but that's quite a nice looking image. Analog has this certain dynamic range to it. Why is analog different than digital? And because the highlight roll-off looks different, the color looks different, it gives you this nostalgic feeling of a better time past that was quite nice. And it gives you the feeling that you are somehow back in some nicer days, I don't know. And yeah, that's my girlfriend on her phone, and we have some decent bokeh in this image. And I can maybe remember I took this picture on f2. That's the first pictures I took with this camera. The light meter was not working because I had to put a battery in it, and the battery was too small. You have a depth with a little kind of aluminium foil. So yesterday I finished my first roll of film, and the Sunny 16 rule sets I shoot on f16 all the time, but I have an f2 lens, so I put some stepper rings on it, and I shoot today with an ND filter to maybe use a little bit more open aperture, because you know we are videographers and photographers. We want to shoot an open aperture and actually use this lens, because on a bright sunny day, when you only can shoot the fastest is the 500th of a second. I tried this yesterday with my S5 on f2. On a bright sunny day, the shutter speed was 1/2000, and I want to counter this with the ND filter to see if I can use then this camera a little bit more open, better than f11 and f16. when you are a good photographer, you look outside and you can imagine some settings that you have to choose them. That's not her fault. I mean, that was the first time she took a picture with a professional analog camera with a complete manual lens, and you look through an optical glass viewfinder, and that's not easy. Here we have a nice cool picture that's also not perfectly sharp. I missed the focus a little bit here, but it looks quite cool, and every picture is decent exposed. Also this picture, that was some of the first test pictures I took with this camera, but it looks also quite nice. And yeah, that's also a nice looking picture. I forgot the settings, but well, that doesn't matter afterwards. The colors look quite nice, and that's some black picture. I don't know what I did here. And here I also tested the camera, and here is another nice picture. That's my mom with my daughter, and that's some very cool little bouquet in the background. I can't remember the settings, but I think it is between f5.6 and f8 or something. And here is another example of a lot of dynamic range in the picture, because you can see even under my daughter in the shadows, you can see some details, and you can see every cloud, every detail. It's quite white, the clouds, but that's for sure because the clouds are ultra bright and white. But this kind of dynamic range is very hard for a camera. To achieve this look in digital, you have then to pull back the lights in a raw image, then you have to raise the shadows, and then every bit of the image becomes a little bit artificial. It looks then kind of artificial HDR, and I don't like that so much anymore. Back then I pushed my images to the extreme that I want to have every information in the JPEG and stuff, but it doesn't look quite nice. I think this here is better. That's a picture. I am this in analog, ladies and gentlemen. That's me in analog. I think that's even f16 or somehow. I told my girlfriend, take your time, try to make me as sharp as possible, and then take a picture. And I think that was the sunny 16 rule, because when you're outside and you don't have a light meter in your camera, on a normal ISO 200 film, you can then set the fastest shutter speed. There's some rule, I forgot it, I don't know. I used an f16, I don't know. And that's also a nice picture with a lot of dynamic range in it. I mean, well, you see every detail in the cloud and in the shadows. That looks nice. The greens look nice. The cool color rendering. I like this. It looks actually quite nice. There's also a cool picture where my mom and my girlfriend walking and the dog. And it looks quite cool. And here we are in the beginning. We have 20 usable pictures. And yeah, that's the magic of analog photography, because you have a real chemical process that photons fall on a negative film and they burn an image into a physical media. That's quite cool. And for me, have these pictures a little bit more value than digital pictures, because with a digital camera you can take 1000 pictures on a day like this, and you have then 6 good pictures. And with this camera, with an analog film, you have also maybe 6 good pictures, but you took only 20 or 24 pictures. That's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. These pictures have then, in my head at least, a little bit more value to it, because it's also a price point. You pay for a normal film here in Berlin like 8 or 9 euro, and developing cost 5 euro, and that can go much higher, because if you want more pictures, you have then to print or to develop more pictures, and that costs money. You know, when you send them, you cannot. I mean, you can scan pictures, but people say then they become digital and they get altered by the color rendering and stuff. This is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. That's a real picture, and you have it in your hand. I always tell a lot of people, especially my clients, I print. When I have a photo shoot for a client, I mostly print them the pictures, because that's a different feeling when you have the picture actually in your hand. Also, when you have a big picture in your hand, that's also a thing. You know what? I show you some pictures I printed. We have here a printed picture. This, ladies and gentlemen, is me and my girlfriend in Las Vegas. And this a nice printed picture in a nice Fuji color in a nice Fuji color space, not in a nice Fuji paper, metallic paper. And that's a print from white wall. And that's the topic of the next video. I'll show you another picture. For instance, that's me in Iceland, ladies and gentlemen. A very cool picture. I like this picture so much, but I made a little mistake. When you zoom into this picture all the way, I don't think you can see it on YouTube on the camera, but when you look very close, you can see that the contrast is a little bit too high, because when you order prints online, everyone has a different monitor, everyone looks different, and you cannot judge actually how the picture comes out when you order then big prints like this. This print costs 24 euro because that's a nice expensive Fuji paper, and yeah, that is a little mistake, and it's also a little bit too dark here. I will make another video about printing pictures, especially on white wall. They deliver very high quality images, and you can make some mistakes there, and that you avoid these mistakes, I make a video here. You can also order pictures on a how does it called, on a Leinwand, and that you can also order pictures from yourself from a beach in a rainbow song on a nice busy beach day, because that looks ultra cool, and you can be proud of yourself because you look good. And if you are from Europe, if you are like me, you can wear a rainbow song at the beach. Trust me, you can pull this off. Freedom for everyone. Not everyone, but you know what I mean. Always be yourself. So, and like I said, I made all these analog pictures we just saw with the little Zenith 12 XP camera. I have now 12 XP. If you have any questions about analog photography, ask me any stupid questions. You only will receive stupid answers, because I am as smart as you when it comes to photography, especially when it comes to analog photography. I think we have here in my community, I'm 100% sure, some people that have more knowledge than me when it comes to analog photography, especially when it comes to these ISO values on this film. I don't think they are the same as in my camera, because in the camera they are digital, artificial, and here is the real ISO value. I also have another negative, I also have another black and white film. I will use this, and well, maybe I take you with me on a photo trip, and then we can take some pictures together. Maybe we do this with a GoPro and street photography. Tell me what I should photograph with my analog photography from Russia. And I hope you like this little video. I have another video where I tested this nice little lens. They used it in the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I put this lens on my Lumix S5 because I have a nice adapter to it. And then we see us in the next video. Thank you very much. My name is Paul, German filmmaker, videographer from Berlin, Germany. See you in the next video.